What's this?
It's not the grok.
This is a set of needs and values, needs and emotions. It's
called grok.
Yeah. It was a word before Elon ruined it.
grok it.
What would it mean before Elon ruined it?
Understanding. To understand something is to grok something.
Oh my god, that's literally the opposite.
Are you
of
serious?
Yeah, that's why he named it grok. 'Cause it's to help you you grok the technical speak. It means that you understand.
I thought it was named after the command line utility.
Well, I think that you mean grep?
No, grok.
Grok.
I don't know what that command line utility is, but I suspect that's named after the slang. Because grok is
Yeah, it is a tool to find stuff.
Yeah.
To find a string inside a string.
It doesn't sound like a verb. Like it's so... Like
no,
you wouldn't say grokking.
Neither does supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but it is.
Name of the language term. It's not a verb.
Oh,
you
okay.
grok something. You like it's a adjective? Adverb, yeah.
Maybe we can ask AI to explain.
Yeah.
Don't need AI?
Yes.
It is.
So what is
We have
grok?
our
Yes,
producer.
what is grok and how you use it.
What does it mean to have a human in the loop?
Human in the loop.
Human in the loop. What in the world is a human in the loop? Being a human in the loop. AI in the loop. Humans in charge.
Welcome to Human in the Loop. Camelia Petrus is a leadership psychologist and ethical workplace specialist, equipping professionals with practical strategies for leadership, resilience, and workplace transformation. It's funny because we were speaking last week about the kind of peacockness of humans where, as a species, you need to fit in just enough so that the social order looks after you. But to have social value, you have to stand out in some way. You either have to be better at the job, or someone has to find you more attractive or more interesting than someone else.
I'm not going to say it.
But how beautiful it is when you can be authentic, genuine, and yet appreciated and seen and understood and so on. So you don't have to put up a mask and a specific behavior just to be liked.
Yeah.
You don't have to impress anyone.
Yeah.
How would that be?
That would be
live
how
your
the
life
world used to
without
be
having to
before
impress anyone.
social media, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Do you think that it's because of the society that we live in, i.e. a capitalist structure, requires people to impress people? Like, because that's literally how you get ahead.
The society doesn't request anything. There are no requirements. There are choices that people make. I think. Yes, the idea of fitting in, it's quite big. Yeah. Since marketing took the stage, and you had all the billboards with all these pretty ladies, then every young girl wanted to become something like that, to look like that. And we all know that there is a lot of editing behind that, but the little girl doesn't know. And I think that's quite dangerous, when you fall on that path, when you think, I need to fit in. If I do not look like this, I'm worthless, or nobody would notice me, so I think there was a shift in values.
But as primates, haven't we always done that? Or...
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of an incentive loop, right? Like if you imagine some primordial stage where nobody's doing any sort of image editing, and you're all just living your natural life, right? And then the first person starts doing some level of image editing. No one else is going to be aware that they're doing it, right? Like it's just a slightly improved, like everyone looks at that person like, wow, they're just, for some reason, there's like, they don't know, have less manure in their skin because it's the Middle Ages or wherever, right? Like they're very slightly less filthy than everyone else who's living at this time.
Less manure.
Yeah.
And like the reason I thought of that is like you look now and like people deliberately take advantage of humans like blindness to the editing that's going on, right? Like you look at, people on Instagram. Intellectually, most people are aware that there's a lot of editing going on in the image that's presented there, right? But there's still they still, feel like there's some truth behind that image. There's no truth behind those images. They're completely fake in many cases. But there's still like a belief that that lifestyle is attainable without the fakeness.
And you mentioned something. You said perfect life, right? But when you think of the definition of perfect life, what is that actually?
Bruce Springsteen
perfect
story.
life.
Bruce Springsteen story. No, I don't. Like, honestly, I don't know. So I guess everyone's impressionable, right? So when you see something that someone who's always on holiday, perfect pictures, I don't know, driving fancy cars and stuff like that, those are all aspirational to whatever societal values you live inside.
Yeah.
So it's like bad in the West. It's even worse than in developing countries because you're surrounded by poverty, and then you see a richer country, and that's the lifestyle that you think that they live, and then it becomes aspirational, and then it becomes capitalism.
It's kind of the cause of the recent, I think it's turned into a coup they had in Nepal, right? Where they knew there was a lot of corruption in the political system, and everyone was kind of aware of it. But the thing that triggered the revolution was that all of the sons and daughters of the corrupt politicians were sort of posting online how
lavish lifestyles.
Their lavish lifestyles they were getting from the corruption, and like they couldn't help themselves. They couldn't stop, even though it was
the only thing they had to do was just take the money.
And not broadcast to the people that they were effectively abusing, right? Taking their money from. Look at the amazing life. Aren't I better than you to be able to have this lifestyle?
Yeah,
it's like, no, you're just stealing the money from us. That's the thing, that supports your lifestyle.
Then rubbing it in people's faces.
And then they knew that there was going to be a problem, and so the thing they did to stop the problem was ban TikTok and Instagram in Nepal. Rather than it was such a strong desire to have that communication. It's like, we can't just stop our kids from doing this. We're going to have to ban these tech platforms in the country to prevent this sort of communication.
Yeah. Wow. Similar sort of thing in Sri Lanka. There's like, a peaceful revolt, basically. Just barely peaceful. But same thing. Just government officials rigging elections and then just staying in power for ridiculous amounts of time and then nearly bankrupting an entire country. Do you understand how incompetent you have to be to bankrupt a country? Like, that's like a nth degree incompetence problem. Like, you must be doing it intentionally at that point, because there's so many people with like, maybe we shouldn't, like, even if you're like the meanest motherfucker on the planet, you're probably like, maybe we shouldn't bankrupt the whole country. Like, there's got to be some piece of you that's just like, keep it as a going concern so I could just keep ripping it off at least. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've been watching this old TV show. I've just binged 2 seasons. It's called Humans. It's from 2017. Long story short.
Is it ironically about robots?
Yes. Oh. It's about a world where synthetic humanoid robots, incredibly people-like, have been integrated into society. They have operational jobs. You could get one as a home helper, and slowly some of them become conscious. So, like, that's really far in the future. But this show has surfaced a lot of questions about what it looks like to remain ethical, human, decision-making. They talk about things like, this job is now going to be a robot-first job. Mm-hmm. We are starting to see pieces of that. And when costs are under pressure and when global politics is shaky, it feels like making decisions is very hard for leadership, and keeping ethics at the forefront is sometimes hard because the pressures are too much. So I suppose, like, it's a huge topic. But maybe question the first, what kind of barriers or stresses are surfacing at the moment that you see in leadership? What are the murmurings in leadership that they're nervous about this AI and robotic onslaught that we're going into?
Well, we do. It's not my brand, but anyway, they are wonderful people promoting that and creating tools. So I think there is no way that we do not ask questions. Where does AI go? Or how is it going to affect our life and lives? And I think the major thing is the fear for AI to become to have agency. Okay, I think that is the main fear. What if one day actually they get to, I don't know, to make decisions, to make choices and all that, and to have autonomy? So this is scary. It is scary. And there are movies out there that helped us see that and actually ask questions.
There's this, I can't remember, he's a really famous author, but I'm not much of a science fiction reader. he was talking about how there's a possibility, like he was mapping out how AI might play out. And he's been like really accurate in his books and predicting like the future. He's been a science fiction writer for like 40 or 50 years. And he like predicted crypto, he predicted internet, he predicted generative AI, all kinds of stuff. And he was like, actually, there's a possibility. Yeah, I think that might be him. Yeah. His theory is this, that AI might become so intelligent that it doesn't see us as a threat in the same way that we don't see a domestic house cat as a threat.
Yeah, but here is intelligence. So we need to make some distinctions in between knowledge, how much knowledge can someone acquire, and intelligence. And that is how they use that knowledge. And logical reasoning. So this is pretty much what you see in the IQ tests. But then when we are talking about AI, you think that they might have knowledge. No, they do. They do have knowledge. And now we do have access to that, okay? And that is a wonderful thing. I mean, these days you do not have excuses at all not to learn something new, not to understand something better. But AI doesn't have something that I'm really hoping we'll never have, and that is consciousness. To be conscious, to be aware of its existence, okay? And then one step from developing agency. And there is another movie that I watch, and actually it's a series. It's just so scary to think about that. It's called
Westworld.
Westworld.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yes. Yeah,
That
it's
is
amazing.
scary. Okay, so that is an example of how it would like when AI develops consciousness.
Revenge.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I kind of am not scared of AIs developing agency or consciousness because, to your point, Danu, like we don't really know what's going to happen after that point. It is like a pretty, anytime there's this big unknown inflection point, like yes, that like it could go really badly. We just don't know. But I know how, people in power use new tools and especially new information tools to control the populace. I'm much more afraid of what a significant increase in human power will do in terms of our social political systems than I am the theoretical danger of sentient AI. I mean, that might end up being hilariously short-sighted in 10 years when we're all labouring in the Silicon Mines.
Hamish. While I'm killing the barrel of my rifle, ready to go to war against 1,000 robots. Hamish, you got that one wrong.
But do you think that's because we humans are limited to imagining the capability of an AI in relation to what we know of the world?
I think it's more just to me, the risk is so present and immediate from the current human use of AI that global warming or climate change definitely an issue, right? Like it's going to displace millions of people, but it's a reasonably distant threat. And if my house is on fire, I'm not going to go, oh no, this is putting a lot of carbon in the atmosphere. That's going to be terrible for people in 50 years. I'm going to go, get out. I'm hot.
Yeah. I see AI as a wonderful presence, actually, in one way, because it kind of pushes us to remind ourselves about our humanity and to say, hey, hold on, we are humans. This is such a big thing. This is AI. This is supposed to be a tool to serve us, to help us become better at what we do. So at the end of the day, the fear is natural because every time, something different appears, like when electricity appears, for example, appeared. Okay, everyone, I think, was uncomfortable at the beginning, asking many questions.
Especially with Thomas Edison electrocuting horses.
Yeah.
Like...
Is this going to kill us? Is it okay to have electricity in the house and all that? I mean, in the history, there are so many changes. Now with AI, it's just a different type of change that actually is challenging our thinking. And this is what is our thinking is our most precious thing that we have.
There's never been an intellectual machine since like the abacus, I think. Like most machines are like labor replacement machines. And then there hasn't been in history a time when a machine was introduced that took away intellectual labor since the abacus, which is helping with calculation. Yeah.
Something you said before just made me think, like, in this era, then we've got to remember what it is to be human or to have humanity. So how do you connect to that?
How do you connect to that?
Yeah. Like, what is humanity then?
Fear is a strong feeling, and fear brings a lot of questions, you know. The idea is to self-reflect, and this is one of our extraordinary qualities, you know, inner dialogue, self-reflect, reflecting over what's happening, what are we going to do, what we did we do well, and so on. So that would lead to the relationship that we have with AI, basically. There are I think two ways that this can go. Okay, one is in when humans would start using AI for everything. Like, I don't know, writing an essay, it's so easy now. You just put a line, a prompt, and you have everything done. Or letting it do things for you. That is really bad because it's affecting your, as I said, the most important things that you possess, you know, critical thinking, logical reasoning, creativity, and so on. And another path is to stop and to remember that you are a human and actually ask yourself, what is that makes me human? You know, what is that would help me stay safe in this environment, fast changing, everything is happening around us. I need to keep up with what? And I think here is about getting more in touch with our own values, with what we value as humans, what is it that we have to nurture in order to protect humanity. I think we moved away from values a while ago. It's what there is a lot of confusion in what we value, you know. I mean, if we use big words and sometimes we get lost in terminology, but everything actually is quite simple. If you take as an example a family, okay, a family with strong values, okay, that is the family culture. Is that microclimate that they create in their own houses, which is based on values. Like in our house, we value truth. In our house, we value authenticity, honesty, and so on. We value respect. We value integrity. We value cleanness, for example, in our house. Therefore, we do this and that because we value cleanness or health, and so on. And basically, all the choices and decisions that we make are based on our values. And it's a very simple way to test that. If you feel good about something, that means that you acted according to your values.
That's a very good way of sort of saying it. Like the values are trained, and then they are the framework that the intelligence gets used against. Imagine if Einstein had like really horrible values. He would have just stayed in Germany and given them the bomb. And then even Tesla, like Nikola Tesla invented AC power. George Westinghouse seemed to have good values, and he came to him and said, hey, the deal we did is not feasible. We need to rework it. And he offered him a good deal, but Nikola Tesla wanted to see AC power out in the world. And so he gave away all of the rights to AC power. I want to compare Tesla to Snake Altman, basically, right? Like Tesla said, the world will be better with electricity. People will be able to do more with their days. They'll be able to travel further distances, society will be better. I'm going to give up my legal right to... He would have been a trillionaire, by the way. According to the deal that Westinghouse did with him, Tesla would have been paid per kilowatt of power generated. So just New Zealand's like Huntly power plant is 900,000 kilowatts of generation per year. So just like Tesla would have made a boatload of money. And he gave up this right because he's like, actually, society's going to be better with this technology.
These two value intellect and clarity and education.
How wonderful.
History.
Making the world better. But yeah, and then you've got Sam Altman going, OpenAI is going to be game-changing. AGI is going to be the world, blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, I want to line my pockets with it.
Yeah.
You know, he literally converted a non-profit organization with the same mission into a for-profit mechanism.
Well, this is the thing. There's a whole lot of people who value, it would seem, power and money, but they don't speak like they value power and money, but all of the actions point to that. They're saying they value human progress and innovation and jobs. You look at politicians that say they value making a country better, making a country great. You see evidence to the contrary.
Yes. Okay. There is nothing wrong in valuing power. The question is, do you value power with or power over people? So that makes a distinction. So again, we go back to the definitions of everything. And that might create confusion because, yes, they make statements. I do this out of, valuing this and that. Okay, but you see different results. And definitions, defining exactly what they mean makes the difference. For example, respect. Okay, you take respect. And everything, we assume that everyone knows what that means. Okay, I come here and I'm a respectful person. But what does that mean to me? And here you bring in cultural competence, because if you do not know, what respect or how respect is lived, in Sri Lanka, in Romania, I'm Romanian. You, Hamish, are from
New Zealand.
Outer space.
Okay.
Somewhere around the dark side of the moon.
Yes. And Alaina?
Yeah, also from New Zealand.
Also from New Zealand. So if we get to discuss here about what respects mean to you, I mean, what do I need to do in order for you to feel respected? Okay. And what would I like you to do in order for me to feel that you respect me? Okay.
Sorry for swearing in front of you.
Yes. So it's very important to understand the definitions. We just get lost in terminology and we do not go back to the root to what does that exactly mean. And I think developing a vocabulary of values, to have a good understanding of what that means and how they are lived, whether it's in a family, whether it's in a team, organization, whether it's in my own world inside. We don't know exactly what we are led by.
Is there a finite number of kind of things to be valued? Or when you do exercises, is there like a list that a person could look at and pick from and say, out of these 30 things, here are the 5 that work for me?
When I work with organizations, I do work with groups, and usually that is for helping people define their culture. Because the culture is also based on values. What is that we value here? What is our mission, vision, purpose, and how we are going to live all these, how are they going to be displayed in the way we do our work, our relationship with work, our relationship with each other, and our relationship with the stakeholders. So I work with them in groups, okay, and I give them these cards that are values. Can I just show you?
I'm excited.
Okay. I do have bigger value cards for people to see them. These are very tiny. So, I was just looking for the others. This is, for example, honesty. Okay. And you ask yourself, is honesty important to you? And they would say, wow, this is vital. I mean, we can't lead without honesty. Okay. Same within. If you are not honest with yourself, how can you actually lead? Where are you? Like a leaf in the wind? And if you do not admit to yourself things. Clarity. Is this a good value or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you lead anything without clarity? No, this is very important for leaders and for everyone in the team, for example. Hope. What do you think of hope?
I'm a little too dystopian for hope.
I think that you've got to, like, I'm naturally very pessimistic, right?
Yeah,
Like
the engineers in the room.
Yeah.
They're like, no, hope is optional.
Well, no, I think of, like, every activity we do is an element of hope. We continue to hope that everything won't just collapse around us all the time. There's no reason that doesn't happen. There's no reason that, we don't just get hit by a meteor tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm different people have different beliefs in terms of the predestination or, intent of the universe, but I'm a determinist. It's just, it is because it is. And so the reason I come to work is because I hope that the world won't explode.
Yeah.
I love the word hope. I love the story of Pandora's box. We have this, I have a brooch, which is, I wish I'd worn it today. It's crossed fingers and it says things will work out. And then it's important in our family. So I actually have it as a print as well. And it's up on a shelf in our house. Because part of me, hope feels like you don't have a lot of intention or agency.
Yeah.
But
Hamish and I are control freaks. I get it now.
But I think that it recognizes that sometimes you aren't in control of all of the parts of your life. There are factors that are going to affect you. I'm also quite a cynical and pessimistic person, but I always have this like side of me that goes, but I think it will work out. So I don't know. Hope is important to me. I don't know.
You sure that's not crippling anxiety? Because that's what it is for me.
A little of both.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me, like, I'm not diagnosed with
much,
obsessive
unfortunately.
compulsive, but like I do have
do you have something about a clean 3D printer or
and the fact that my hands often crack because I wash them too much.
Wow.
The permeability of self. I really don't like thinking about it very much, but like most people don't because they're just not aware of it. But like the barrier that we imagine between ourselves and our body and the rest of the world does not exist in any meaningful way, right? Like the things that we interact, like every time you rub against a surface like that, little micro elements of it are breaking off and stabbing through your skin. Right, and now I have little bits of table stuck in my skin, and that's happening with every surface
and now
you
it needs
contact
to run
all
off
the
real
time.
quickly to wash his hands.
I hate the state of my nails right now because I have so much gardening stuff under my fingers. But then cleanliness is an extreme value of yours.
Yeah,
Whereas in our
do you wanna-
house, we don't mind going to bed if there are still dishes in the sink. We just it's not a priority for us over creativity and the mess that comes with creativity. So therein lies you start to see things diverge, right?
Yes. There are so many beautiful words that actually they form our internal world, and this is what is leading us to make choices. All the choices that we make. And going back to hope, we talked quite a bit about hope here. I personally have different relationships with hope at different times. Sometimes I do not like it because I love certainty. Hope has a degree of uncertainty and I dislike it. I feel uncomfortable. But sometimes, I think, I don't know enough about this. It's limited. So I can place hope. It's safe to place hope. But this is the idea, to take this, to develop a vocabulary of values and to understand your relationship with them. How important is this for me? Is this particular value leading my life? Is this something that I'm looking for in life? We have here balance, for example. We have celebration. Okay.
My personal favorite.
You value celebration. That is so important. The idea of getting a sort of closure of the things that you did. Something goes well, something doesn't go so well. It's okay. But it's good to celebrate. Then it's good to reflect over what didn't go so well. And when you look at teams, Okay, again, you think, okay, is honesty important in our teams? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Okay, let's take it. Let's break it in a million little pieces and see what honesty means to each of us, and how we are going to live by that particular value.
My favorite challenge around honesty is the difficulty of communication. The example I was using last week, because I was talking about it with someone at work, was if I introduce a friend and I say, this is my friend, he hasn't murdered anybody.
Man, you got a low bar for friends, dude. Is that how you introduce me?
That is
Yet,
a true
he
thing.
hasn't
I have made
introduced-
I have only, well, hopefully it's a true thing, right? Like, I've made a true statement about that friend, but there are so many implications in the choice of that specific thing. That, you know, he's also probably drunk water that morning. I didn't bring that up. You know, there is a load of meta communication that you're making with every choice of communication.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is interpreted by the person you're talking to, not the person doing the speaking. And so communicating honestly, like only speaking fact, is not sufficient to communicate the thing that you want to communicate. And in fact is often counter.
Yeah. That's because language is such a poor approximation for...
Really is. Even the word friend. I mean, my partner and I have had to introduce a system because to me, friend actually means something different. He keeps using friend, and I'm like, well, we've been together for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
I've never met this person, so how are they a friend of yours? Oh, well, you know, I know them from a job 10 years ago, and we met once, and we're still friends on Facebook. I'm like, to me, that's not a friend. That's an acquaintance.
Yeah.
You know, so honesty and clarity go hand in hand quite nicely. And then there's another one which is different, which is transparency. I think in a workplace, you can be honest about the fact that you can't say everything.
But also kindness. Because there's a way you say it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe that's not a great idea versus you idiot. That's
Well, that brings up, you were
You're being
talking,
honest, but
Camelia,
you're
about
not being kind.
nonviolent communication. The way that you pick and choose your words to other people as well as to yourself, because you can layer on each of these.
And also the implications. Hamish hasn't murdered anyone that I know of.
I mean, there's definitely a counterfactual like if I'd said this is my friend, he hasn't murdered anybody, and he's definitely just murdered somebody, right? That's just a lie. That's not being honest at all, right? So there's definitely a counterfactual speech which is clearly not honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's loads of implication all the time, and you know, politicians take advantage. Not anymore. It used to be a subtle skill that politicians would learn to imply something that they wanted to imply without.
David Ogilvy's. So David Ogilvy, the guy that formed Ogilvy.
Singleton made that,
Yeah. He started off as a dishwasher salesman for AEG, door to door. So this was like the 50s, and he would go door to door to sell washers. And in his first year, he blew past all of the other salespeople who had been there a while. So AEG's country manager was basically like, hey, can you write a manual for how to sell the AEG dishwasher? And if you're in sales, like it's a type of Bible, basically. But he goes on how you speak of the competition. Like he's got this very specific set of chapters or descriptions where he's like, always speak of the benefit of your product over your competition's product. Never mention your competition's name by name. Never spend more than I think it's 1/10 of your conversation talking about your competition, but make sure you mention their inferiority. And it's like, without naming them. It's like, so other dishwashers would have this, this, and this, right? And you'd start pointing out the features. So you'd start with the negative and then to start the implication that you're comparing to an inferior product, and then move to the strongest parts of your product. And it's just, literally, it's a masterclass in communication, which explains why he started an advertising agency. But
that is about influencing people. Yeah. So now we have negative and positive influences, you know, and at the end of it is values again. Yeah. You know,
but you can't necessarily.
Yeah.
You can't necessarily value honesty if you have a requirement to sell a product. So maybe you forego honesty for great storytelling, or.
But he never implied to be dishonest. He simply said to compare your benefits against the competition without mentioning them.
Yeah.
So never dwell on something that the competition was more. So like in the book, it basically says, if you are up against a product that has a particular feature that's better than yours, move on quickly.
Yeah.
So he never implies that you should it's the narrowness of communication, right? Hamish didn't point out there's a friend drank a glass of water, just that they didn't murder anyone this morning. You control the conversation, right? You control the implication by not dwelling on the glass of water, but implying that he'd murdered someone.
Yeah.
And so it works in reverse as well when you're trying to get positive influences, like move on from the thing you're not strong at to the thing you are strong at. And then, but yes, communication.
Yeah, communication. Communication is what makes our lives in so many ways, you know. Again, starting with how we communicate with each other and how we communicate with others.
Yeah.
With so many years of studying psychology, I didn't feel that I do have a tool for communication until I came across nonviolent communication. And this guy who came up with this concept, Marshall Rosenberg, he was a clinical psychologist, and he has been a clinical psychologist for many years, and he came to the same conclusion. We do not have a communication framework, you know, and where do we fall off that framework? So nonviolent communication starts with intention. What is your intention? Okay, now talking about humanity. Okay, this is one tiny part of it. Imagine, for example, you had a really tough day at work. Okay, you've been pulled in all directions and you feel really stretched and you've been stressed and tired, and you get home. You enter the house with that type of energy. Okay, if you just stop at the door and kind of put a barrier there and think, hey, I'm just about to enter my home. What is my intention here? What am I going to do when I enter the house? Now, you can have many intentions, but there are two that I value very much, and that is the intention to connect and the intention to contribute. So if at the door, before meeting your family members, you just recall that, you just bring that back to you and recenter and reset, sort of, with two intentions that would support you to have a meaningful time, okay, with, you might be alone, you know, but it's the same thing. My intention is to connect with myself, with my surroundings, and so on. So everything starts with an intention. When you go to work as a leader, you think, okay, what is my intention today? We have this driving time, you know, you can think about these kind of things. How do you use that time productively, efficiently? One good thing is to think about your intention. Is your intention to connect with your team members today? Is your intention to stay authentic? Okay, because if you're not authentic as a leader, you lose trust. So there are, again, we come back to these values. So it's kind of a loop. It's kind of a, you know, a few important things in life to cultivate, to bring in, to cultivate, to nurture, in order to become more confident in your ethical decision making and know what to do when you are facing ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas. So there are these beautiful things, values, intentions. What do you pay attention to? What do you observe? How do you observe? If you start judging, that is not observation. Okay, that doesn't serve you in any way. We're supposed to collect data. So that is non-judgmental observation. We need data in order to apply it to our critical thinking. Then, of course, developing your vocabulary of feelings and needs and values. So you can better understand yourself. It's where we start, usually our work, better understand ourselves, our choices, our decisions, and understanding others. Because this way you learn how to positively influence people. So I'm sorry, I kind of condensed everything here, but
right.
Everything has its own importance. And
Predictability.
Yeah.
This one's interesting because that's something we struggle with AI. as
Yeah.
the predictability of the output and where it will go. But also, predictability can be weaponized. That's what I've learned in business. If you're predictable, and all mates, actually all successful dictators in the world have some element of unpredictability, and that is straight out of Sun Tzu: be unpredictable.
Well, can I tell you a funny interaction I had on the weekend, which in one interaction, it was a massive value challenge. I was in the middle of doing some stuff in the kitchen, kids are around, I hear a knock on the door and I open it, and a tall man that I don't know just starts talking to me about my garden. Oh, tell me about this. Oh, those stones about 30 mil deep. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, I've seen them before. Yeah, and I like what you're doing with the plants. And I'm standing there as a person who values not interrupting people, to be very polite. Internally, I'm going through this battle of also recognizing he's not saying who he is, and how disrespectful is he being to just show up unannounced and talk at me without stating who he is. I felt like I couldn't interrupt him to say, excuse me, who are you? So this goes on for a while and I'm just nodding, starting to like panic a little bit. And then I get hit with, are you worried about the wars overseas? Are you worried about your children?
Oh my
We
God.
at the
Okay.
Jehovah's Witness, da-da-da-da-da. So then you get this next wave. So, you know, being challenged on my morals and ethics to explain myself to someone I don't know, and then up against a clashing of
You
religious
didn't go
values.
for the bait, did you?
I mean, again, I'm too polite to just like tell someone to leave. I just, even if I don't agree with someone's, especially religious values, but I'm also standing there going, I would be disrespectful to interrupt and say, excuse me, I'm actually in the middle of something. But then I'm acknowledging he's being incredibly disrespectful because he hasn't asked for my time. He's just taken it without asking.
And you gave it.
Well, I said to him, in the end, I said, I'm busy. Would it make you feel better if I just took one of your brochures? Because I've heard that Jehovah's Witnesses just have to like...
KPIs.
Yeah, exactly.
Was
Yeah.
that slowly what's happening to society, where everyone, where these like larger than life characters are weaponizing some of our values against us, or like the guy at the door, but on the nth degree, and then people on either side, left, right, center, well, probably not the center, we're abandoned, but people on the left and the right kind of go, well, because that person I look up to is behaving that way, that gives me the authority to behave that way, because I'm not the one that has to take the grotesque action. Someone else has done it for me. I just need to stand behind them.
But that's where you need to know what your values are, right? Like in that
Exactly.
example, like that man on my doorstep, I didn't appreciate that. And I had potentially every right to say, get lost
you
in any
should've.
manner.
Not potentially.
Yeah.
He was on your property.
Yeah.
You could have just
Yeah.
said,
You could have shot
I'm
him.
sorry, please leave.
You could have shot him and got
But
off.
you know what?
Just saying, I'm not condoning
It
violence,
comes
but I'm
back
just
to
saying.
like, you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. And I don't want to be a rude person just because somebody is
But this is one of
potentially
the
is allowed to have me
Exactly.
be rude to them.
But this is one of the things that I think, one of the values that gets confused the most, and I say this to everybody. Politeness and kindness are two separate things. You were being polite, you weren't being kind.
You were not raised Catholic, were you?
There's an ounce of religious guilt in me.
Yeah. No, you're right about the kindness thing. That's something to be learned. I think I'm only really learning it at Rush, to be honest.
But also how you interrupt someone politely.
Oh, I tell you.
It's basically, you, to that guy, you go,
That's
She's
trying.
struggling.
She's trying.
She's been trying for about
She's
5
trying.
minutes. Yeah.
just kick me under the table.
So that was a demonstration, right? So it's quite simple. There is a question you ask yourself in your situation or in any other situation when you feel that your time is being stolen from you,
Disrespected,
disrespected to you as a person. If you continue to stay in that conversation that you actually dislike, your emotions are quite strong, are indicating that there is something in it that something within you is being challenged. And I'll tell you in a moment what that is. Is then you can ask yourself, if I say yes to this, what do I say no to? Okay? And that is a test that you can apply in so many other situations. You know, you are invited to go somewhere. If I say yes to that, what do I say no to? Maybe I value some relaxing time, some family time, some whatever. We always, put in balance, because you said there's something about that word. things when we make choices and we come back to the values. But there is something that I wanted to point out. When you had this conversation with this man, you being at the door, how did you feel? What were your emotions?
Frustrated. Definitely disrespected.
Yeah.
Violated would be too strong of a word to use. But
You were in this, I assume. Sorry.
what does that say?
Curious.
I'm a very curious
She's on
person.
life,
Yes.
cat life too, or something.
So like, and that's where my curiosity kicked in, was how does he think it's okay to behave like this?
Should have said it out
Yeah.
loud to him.
That's the curiosity, is trying to understand
Politely.
why somebody thinks it's okay to talk at someone
Yeah.
without, and that got me thinking about the religion and their KPIs, and so that's where my brain,
Yeah.
But I'm also a person who doesn't specifically value boundaries, so my own included. But
Given-
it was a really uncomfortable situation.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So this is the idea. Developing a vocabulary of emotions is also important, because we treat emotions and sometimes we get stuck in them, especially strong emotions such as grief. We are like in a lake of grief there. Anger, frustration, we kind of nurture it. We bring thoughts and that. But actually, emotions are just messengers. If you treat them like the postman giving you a letter and you open it, okay, they would lead to your values. Because when a value of ours is being challenged, like this man at the door, how many values of yours did that person challenge? You feel it. Okay, you feel a certain emotion, such as, being impatient.
Yeah.
Okay, and that would tell you, okay, you can ask there, which of my values has been challenged?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that. I feel all the negative emotions are pointing towards a value that has been challenged. When we experience positive emotions, that means that we are aligned. Everything is in balance, is harmony.
Yeah.
With whatever happens in our lives, whether we initiate it or others, or the weather, or whatever, is aligned with our values, and we are in harmony. So emotions, when they are treated as messengers, they try to tell us something, and it's not something to be stuck with or to ignore.
I've got a wonderful tie here. Let's say that the man at the door is AI.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting
Because
stretch.
some people are engaging in that, open the door. I didn't ask for you to be here. You are challenging all of my values and emotions, versus some people are very receptive. You open the door and you're like, I want to know all about what you have to say. Come on in. Make your cup of tea. Do my work for me, please.
It doesn't have to be in a physical space either,
Shall
right?
we?
Like you're seeing
That's
a lot
metaphorical.
of digital communities be entered by people who are looking to use the value there, right? There's a tragedy, the tragedy of the commons? It's a reasonably common saying in like open source communities. So it comes from like in England, where they used to have like a field called the Commons that nobody owned particularly, but it started off as grass, and because nobody owned it, and so everybody tried to extract value from it, and so you'd have all of the different peasants grazing their cows and their pigs and whatever, nobody putting any effort into maintaining it, and so you had this area that used to have value, and all of that value was just taken without awareness of the damage or that consumption of value. And so something like, someone approaching your door, that's a similar thing. There's this value that they are taking in order to
Your time.
build value for themselves, right? Like similar to digital spaces, the authenticity and the purpose that everyone is gathered in that digital space to have a legitimate conversation, and someone's like, oh, I see value there. That's an opportunity for me to sell, right? That's an opportunity for me to market.
They are on a mission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
But also, I think,
It's colonization of the mind.
well, also
Yeah.
people just don't understand how imposing they can be as well.
Yeah.
So they don't, because like the door-to-door salesman, you know, he's got his targets to meet and he's not thinking about your feelings. And
Well, maybe
based
they
on how much.
do understand, but the value, there are so many other values that come before caring about being imposing.
But also, you put yourself in that guy's shoes. He's just constantly rejected. And he must have had literal things thrown at him. I was going to do a
are
live
you doing?
experiment.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask chat what its values are. In voice mode.
let's go for it.
Do it.
Now, this might... Hello?
Backfire?
No, it won't. It'll be fine. Hello?
Hey there, I'm here and ready to chat. Just let me know what's on your mind.
Fantastic. We were just curious, what are the values that you hold?
Absolutely, happy to share that again. So, in a nutshell, my values revolve around being helpful, honest, clear, respectful, and always curious about learning more. So basically, I'm here to make things easy for you while being straightforward and just a little bit curious about the world.
Are those more instructions than emotional values? I was hoping you would mention something like integrity.
Ah, gotcha. Absolutely. I can totally lean into that side of it. So yes, I do value things like integrity for sure. Think of it as not just instructions, but sort of the emotional backbone. Integrity means I'll always try to be truthful and consistent for you. It's basically about trust and making sure you know I've got your back in an honest and reliable way.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting, right?
Some of them
Does it
programs with
actually
values?
have them, or is it like
The problem
placating
is,
me?
LLMs are not aware of the information that was used or the decisions that were used during training, right? They can be told the decisions that were used during training, but just like you're not aware of which XY, various gametes formed your DNA and caused you to be you, they're not aware of the process by which they came to be. And so the values that were encoded in that, in the secondary training stage where they're, giving them their personality, they're not aware of them. Separately, they've been given, like you asked, an instruction list, which is like, here are the things you should behave like, in a similar way, actually, to how humans are like, I don't value this thing, but society does, so act like you value it whether you do
Until
or
one
not.
day they're conscious and they go to AI therapy and they start to look back through their childhood and go,
Yeah.
why am I the way I am?
Yeah.
As professionals, leaders, or just people and families deal with the coming AI world, how do we articulate our values? Do they require a reset around AI?
Again, whatever is perceived by the world as AI, oh my God, we are scared. What if? I think I would say again, congratulations. It's our time to reset, to refresh, or to learn to establish what our core values, first of all, as humanity, and then individually. There are so many families, including mine, we never talked about, to sit around the table and say, hey, this is what we value in our family. But this is so important. Kids are going to school having a family set of values. So the same, well explained. Definitions. What does that mean? How am I going to live by that value? Same in organizations. So I think it's about consolidating this moral compass. So a leader would trust their team members that whatever decisions they have to make over the day, they are within those terms and conditions, which are the values that they all embrace. And the same in families, right? You can more confidently, as a parent, send your child to school, in trips, wherever, knowing that they will act within that.
Hoping that they will.
Hope again. Yeah.
Hope is not a strategy.
It's not hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
So I think that at the end of the day is how we reinforce the concept of humanity and nurture it. And think about, hey, actually, what is that I want to promote as a human? And it's so nice, I can say, I'm kind of entitled to say, I'm a human. Because now we do have something that kind of, come closer to what we are in terms of knowledge, logical reasoning, processing information, and all that. And I think I see in this a wonderful opportunity, for people to reset and ask themselves, hey, actually, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? What brings meaning into my life? What, set of actions do I need to take in order to make somebody's life more wonderful? Whether it's my team, my organization, my family, and so on. And I think this is one of the most important things to summarize the entire thing. But of course, because we are humans, okay, we are also complex. There is so much complexity in human mind and human behavior, that sometimes it feels like a spider web, a very dense one that you need to go through. But if you start with the values, it brings clarity, and it brings that kind of why don't I have the in the sailors, they have the lighthouse.
Oh yeah.
It become your lighthouse.
Yeah.
In times of
difficult
shakiness,
times.
and that's resilience as well. We talk about resilience. When you know that you have something to fall on, when you have clarity, why does this upset me?
Yeah.
Because it's challenging this particular value. Why do I like this? Why I'm attracted by this? Because I value this.
Yeah.
Wow, this is wonderful. The more you sit down to reflect, the more you reinforce your identity, who you are, what you're here for, how you contribute, how you connect with others, and how you serve community.
Be more human.
Be more human.
These are my two favorite cuts. Nurturance, which I haven't seen that word before. New word. Today I learned.
I suppose
Nurturance.
to nurture.
Or be nurtured.
Which one?
Shared reality.
Shared reality.
We need more of that.
That's
We
the one
definitely have multiple realities.
That's
at
the one that's
moment.
probably under the
Yeah.
biggest threat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing that we all need going forward.
So if we were going to leave with one thing, what advice would you give to people if they could do just one thing today to get in touch with their values?
I think one of our greatest, among many others, one of our greatest qualities is to be curious.
Yeah.
So curiosity, asking questions all the time. Why do I feel like that? Why does this person behave like that? What is the intention? To ask questions all the time. What is that I want to do right now? What would bring meaning to me? What would bring value? Am I going to give something? Am I celebrating something? What shall I celebrate? So it's just about curiosity and asking these questions that would help you refine, again, gain clarity about who you are and how you show up in the world. I think this is the most important thing. Just go inside, ask questions, ask the right questions, and consolidate your being, equip yourself with the most wonderful values that also serve humanity. And then you can talk with AI.
Curiosity for the win.
Yeah.
Camelia, thank you so much for joining us, for being our human in the loop.
Yeah. Always.
Always.
Title call.
Title call.